My name is Lorenzo Bernardez Jr, and I have a fighter's heart. What it means to me to have a fighter's heart, being born and raised in the South Bronx, is a guy who's resilient, displays perseverance, and is relentless in his pursuit to follow his dreams. How I exemplify having a fighter's heart is by my everyday work, leading by example, showing our youth that anything is possible. Growing up in one of the poorest districts in the United States, there's not much hope going around. I'm probably one of the most positive people to come out of a negative environment. So how do you do that? You just have to be unpopular. So the unpopular thing to do is go to school. The unpopular thing to do is respect your parents. The unpopular thing to do is do your homework. I'm 30 years old. I was born June 11th, 1992, so I'm a 90s baby growing up in the South Bronx on Brook Avenue. Looking at it as an adult, it shouldn't have been normal for everybody to experience trauma at such young ages, whether in the house or in the streets, with verbally abusive, physically abusive people, having to be so on point, as we say in the hood. But that's really anxiety. Whenever you're living every day feeling like something's gonna happen to you or someone's gonna do something to you, that's not being a child. So growing up where I grew up, I had to grow up a lot faster than the average kid. And because of that, it's turned me into who I am today. I wouldn't trade that experience for the world because I see the world from both sides for what it truly is. And nothing is gonna be given to you. People are gonna be snakes and do funny things to you, but you learn how to maneuver through those things. And I think if I could give my younger self advice, it's just to continue to stay true to yourself. For all the young kids out there, if college is not for you and you're very good with your hand and handiwork, go into construction. There's so many options for you. I feel like sometimes in the hood, they feel like we don't have options, but we have tons of options that aren't being promoted to us. We're kind of limited resources with this basketball and rapper thing, but you could use your mind to make it out the hood like I did. I also run a nonprofit called Slice of Excellence, where we trade report cards for pizza. So that's another way that I display a fighter heart every day, trying to empower children through their report cards and attendance in school. So that's another way of me taking back control of the narrative that's been painted of us from the inner city that, we don't care about school, we don't help each other. I'm one of many that's helping the Bronx and the community. So I'm just doing my part. I was teaching at a school in the Bronx. I worked there for a couple months and I never taught before. But how I got the job, it's about your network, not your net worth. Who you know can get you through the door. So my last 3 jobs, I didn't apply to any of them. It was all referral through friends. So if you meet friends that can put you in position and could help you get a job, Indeed is great, but your friend who works there and tells their manager about you is even greater. But Slice of Excellence trades report cards for pizza. So how I started was my numbers were terrible. My attendance was low. Everything was low, and I had to bump it up. So having a conversation with my girlfriend at dinner, I was just like, I think I'm gonna just offer them pizza. So I said, hey, highest test score Friday gets pizza. And it happened, and I sent this kid named Abel pizza to his house. And that changed the whole morale of my class. Like, kids were showing up. So kids would come to the morning half of school. And after lunch, we ghost the rest of the day. Because who's signing back in the Zoom? Like, all you have to do is not pick up the phone, and I can't get you back. But I would get all my kids back. My attendance went up, my grades, my reading levels, everything. So I was doing that out of pocket. And through the grace of God and social media, people took a liking to what I was doing and decided to donate. I turned Slice of Excellence to a 501c3, and now we get donations and we do tons of work all over New York City. One thing I can tell the kids, is stay in your lane. I have brothers who are Crips, Bloods, like blood brothers, like my father's children. And I didn't want to go that route because it didn't feel like it was me. So when I was younger, I just gravitated towards kids who were into sports like I was. So definitely shout out to Omar, Nico, Lawrence, and the list goes on. But those guys were my guys, and those guys love school. We used to talk about school in the books that we were reading in English, and we used to talk about the Yankees. Shout out to Bernie Williams, my favorite player ever. And that was it. So baseball for me taught me that I could do anything that I'm willing to work hard for. And I actually coach baseball for the Yorkville Eagles now. I coach 11, 12U baseball, and I literally, from my journey, I pour that into the children. And I saw my dreams that I would play professional baseball, and I did it in Austria for 2 years for the Sweat Cop Blue Bats. And I hit over 400 both seasons and won a championship my last year, hitting 15 home runs. What motivates me every day is everything I went through as a child. You know, growing up in the South Bronx, my mother had breast cancer when I was 13 years old. She survived, and she was able to come back from that. I lost my father when I was 22 years old, so that was definitely another gut check. But what motivates me every day is my journey and showing kids that everything is possible. Like, I'm literally the beacon of hope of the Bronx. Like, the Bronx really does breed excellence. Like, if you look around, your favorite baseball team's the Yankees, your favorite rapper is Fat Joe. You know, like, everything you can talk about is from the Bronx. For me, that's what fuels me every day, is for people to see that anything is possible, regardless of how you start. And that's why I started my podcast, Conversations with Zoe podcast, is to just give out some daily or weekly positive content and show kids that, you know, things may start off rough, but things do get better, and you do control your narrative. Say we all made in God's image. So if God's power is endless, then my power is endless, because I made in His image. I know, look, everything that I've done in 30 years of life, between going to boarding school, graduating college. I failed out of grad school. I played professional baseball. I've won Coach of the Year. I run a successful nonprofit that's growing day in and day out, a successful podcast, you know, and I work a 9 to 5. So I know that I can do anything. So I know for me, what's in the future is, you know, my son going to the major leagues or the sport of his choice. Slice of excellence being worth over $100 million, and just putting on for the Bronx, like, just, you know, maybe building my own school someday. Everything is just service. Like, God put me on this earth to serve, so I'm gonna serve and be rich.